Good morning. This is Professor Anderson with a little bit of feedback for your writing assignment number 4, the rough draft. So like I do with all the other writing assignments, I pull up the PDF. This is the writing assignment sheet that gives all the outlines. And let's just go over the general specifics, the order and composition of it before we get into the nitty-gritty. So right now what I'm looking at is to make certain that you have all of these components. So I'll just scroll through quickly. Beautiful application of watermark for your title page. I like that. I love how you have your letter of transmittal. I'm going to share with you a couple of nitty-gritties about that in just a moment. And if you noticed, did you see you have 2 of them? I realize this is the, what's that called? It's the rough draft. So I'm sure you're going to tighten that up in the final paper. Your executive summary, that comes next. And I like to just check it off. We have all the components. Here's your executive summary, and we go through, which you want to make sure, after we have the executive summary, then we want to go into the table of contents. So you want to make sure that you have that table of contents in there. That is going to go right here after that executive summary. It's designed to make sure that you can have a committee or a group of people, look through and easily find where the information is located. So that requires pagination also. So you're going to need to make sure you paginate or, put page numbers on there. And you can do that if it looks like you're working in Word. It's at the top. It's a quick little button at the top that you just page. I think it's called, oh my goodness, format. Underneath the format, you'll be able to do that. So then the next section is the table of contents. Then you want to introduce your introduction. And again, I like how you followed the format of that Victoria Business School model. You want to give a background of what's going on, and then you want to share the purpose of the study, the overview of the methodology. There we go. And then the methods. I realize that those models show you primary research oriented first and then secondary, but I like to share with students and with professionals when I consult, what you really did first was you did your secondary research first. And that gave you the broader understanding of the background of the problem. And then you were able to target your primary research. So I recommend switching these two. You want to present the material in the order that you collected it, because you arrived at a conclusion based on a process. And so your paper really kind of needs to follow that process that you arrived at. And then the results, again, you want to have your secondary results first. What did the other scholars say? And then your primary results. Well, based on what the information on that problem that I gathered from across the country, scholars across the country, I tailored my primary research to A, B, and C. So I hope that helps to understand and you know what, Chantel, this is a great idea. I'm going to make sure I do a quick screencast for everyone, because the importance of this paper is just to replay the process that you went through to arrive at these recommendations. And that's just, if you think of it in that way, that's what the research-based report is. So then this is a good overview of your secondary research. Okay, and here are some of your, all right, so it looks like you're waiting for the conclusion. There we go, interview of team members. Okay. What I recommend that you do are a couple of things. First of all, you need to introduce what is it that you did in your primary research. So introduce, based on these findings, 3 key points, based on the secondary research, 3 key areas were uncovered, A, B, and C. Based on these findings, a survey of current employees was developed. The survey is, and attach the survey as an appendix, as a, like at the end of your paper. And then I would maybe even create a graph or a table to show and display the feedback or the information that you received from that primary research. And then your final thing, your recommendations, your conclusion will look like, so the secondary research points to this, the primary research highlighted this in our areas, the recommendations to resolve this issue are, and then enumerate them. So underneath of each of these bullet points, I give a little bit of a definition or explanation. And then there you go. You want to make sure, okay, you want to make sure that you have let's see, I think you need at least, oh, let me go back and double check just so I'm not misspeaking. I want to say it's at least 10, but I could be wrong. It's 7 to 10. Ba, 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 ba. Double checking that rubric. I can't pull that up without closing all of these, but I'm pretty sure it's either 7 or 10 scholarly articles. So just make sure that you utilize all of your references. Now I can see what you've done. You've cut and pasted a lot of information, and that's really good. I like how you've done that. What you want to make sure that you do is copy, right click and copy all of this. Do you see how these fonts are different from here to here to here? You want to copy and paste, or copy, right click, copy, and then change all of the font to make certain that it coincides. All right, so that's just the quick overview of format and formula. Let's go back and look at some nitty gritties quickly, because I saw quite a few areas throughout that I need for you to pay attention to. And they are mostly, they're grammar oriented. Let me read to you this first paragraph area of your executive summary. Currently at the University of Maryland Medical Center Perioperative Services Department. That's not a sentence. This is just as an opening statement. You could say at the University of Maryland Medical Center Perioperative Services Department, there is a high turnover rate, period. This rate reflects a lack of orientation and teamwork, period. Roles in the operating room for staff are unclear, period. These combined result in poor performance and a hostile work environment, period. After conversation with, actually, you don't want to include this sentence right here. You want to take that off because that goes into your recommendations area. Your executive summary gives a quick bullet point of like, here is our problem. This is what it's created. So that is just a quick overview of that sentence. As I went through each of these, the same thing, I noticed the same thing. Here we go. Let's take a look at the background. The last 5 years, there has been increasing conversation about the importance of proper orientation to our operating room suite. I want you to reread each of these sentences for grammar. It should read something like, over the last 5 years, there has been an increase in orientation, an increase in improper orientation to the operating room suite, period. An increase in conversation, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Are you talking about employees complaining about it? Or are you talking about management saying, hey, we've got to do something about it? So make sure that you're very clear with that and double check grammar. Another thing that I want to share with you is anytime you have a number, I believe it's under 99, you write out the number. So over the last 5, you would spell it out years. Or you could say since 2015, and you could write the number for the date. And again, it looks like you're in a rough model, but you have everything. You're in the rough stage of the rough draft, which is where you should be. Good job. But you have a great orientation. You have all the nuts and bolts together. Some of the nitty gritty that you need to focus on is grammar. And what I recommend is this little app up here. You can see this green dot on my computer. It's called Grammarly. If you cut and paste your whole paper, not cut and paste, like copy your whole paper, go to Grammarly. It's spelled like this, Grammarly. It's an online site, and you can paste your whole paper in there, and it will give you grammar suggestions. So it will go over all of those elements that our weekly worksheets, workshops. It will go over each one of them to help you it identifies them for you and it explains why. So I totally recommend that, Chantel, and I look forward to your final paper.